give it a second to show up. Yeah, it looks like we're up now.
Cool. All right. Well, welcome everybody. We've got, what are we on now? Kindred Talks 6?
Seven.
7
There's way too
already.
many.
Well, cool. All right. This time we have myself, Rob, the creative director and game designer behind Kindred Fates. We have SM Andrew over here.
Hello, I'm the one of the original creators and community manager and QA tester.
We have one of our moderators, Neve.
And guest host of today's episode.
Uh-huh.
I think now we're all just hosts.
Yeah, that's a good point. This is your second time, so you're just host.
And as per usual, we have a special guest, Rowlit from YouTube.
Howdy, what's up?
Do you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Oh, sure. I'm a Pokemon YouTuber, so I mostly just sit around making Pokemon-related videos, and occasionally stuff that's within the vein of like monster capturing games. So, yeah, that's generally what I do.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we'll start with questions in a minute.
Yeah. It's worthwhile mentioning that unfortunately, Rowlit is feeling under the weather, so we're going to put all of his questions up front so he can dip out once he's done with his questions, so he can rest up.
Yeah,
Cheers.
normally we kind of mix them in, but we're gonna do all of his first. Hi, chat.
And let's see. We can also.
People are saying, "Hope you feel better."
Oh yeah.
Appreciate y'all.
Are you saying, Rob?
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say we can also like post out to the Discord or Twitter or whatever that we're live now if we haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's about it.
I'll do that. Apparently the subtitles are broken again.
That's all right.
They don't work amazingly anyway, but I will
Hopefully
see
we
if
can
do something about that.
Yeah, we'll see if we can triage that while we're working on questions.
Hi, Bidoof. Okay, so I'll start with Rowlit's questions. So first one is, how did you get into YouTubing, so to speak?
Oh, well, I mean, when it comes to like generally YouTubing, it was about 9 years ago. Just kind of casually got my first ever laptop and just sat down and I don't know, just started kind of exploring everything on the internet because I was brand new to it. So randomly found this website, YouTube, and started watching videos on Pokemon because it was like one of those games I knew I'd played on like my Game Boy, and I was like, oh, this is cool. You know, I want to see what kind of videos people make. And then I found some YouTuber called Leroy, and he was making like just kind of like your most generic kind of like Pokemon Let's Plays. But at that time, like, you know, most people were just doing that by like a webcam and stuff, but he wasn't. Or like not on all of this stuff, but basically found him, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. You know, I want to do this as well. I want to make videos and have people watch them and stuff like that. Like just that idea was really cool to me. And I don't know, just kind of saw that, started doing it, and then started making like just kind of random videos, like as kind of a community channel. Did a few different channels, and eventually in like 2017, created RuffledRowlit, and yeah, started making Pokemon videos, and well, you know, here we are today.
Cool.
So
Nice.
2017 is around when you started focusing on Pokemon stuff?
Yeah, I basically set a goal for myself that year. Like I made a whole new channel because I'd been doing Pokemon before that, and I'd been in the community for a long time, but I hadn't really made it anywhere in terms of content. I was more like a graphics artist for like YouTubers, like making their thumbnails, their logos, their banners, etc., for like their Let's Plays and stuff. But I never really like pursued a bigger channel, and then I'd like jump community to like I left the Pokemon community and joined a different one to try to make videos, and it didn't really work out. And then I was just kind of sitting there like, okay, well, I'm gonna give myself a last chance. You know, I'll put a year of work into a brand new channel. I'll only make Pokemon content, and if I don't reach, like, I set a goal for myself of like 50,000 subscribers, and if I don't reach it, I'll just quit YouTube and pursue like engineering. yeah, I just set a goal for myself. I even told my parents, like, yeah, this is a goal. If I don't reach it, I'm telling you, I'm just gonna, quit it and, not pursue it any further. But I achieved my goal, and yeah, just continued doing YouTube videos on Pokemon.
That's
Well,
fantastic.
thankfully, yeah, that's awesome.
Reminds me of Markiplier when he says he could have been an engineer all the time.
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, there's a lot of people that at least like a lot of people who started doing it a long time ago when it comes to YouTube. Like not the recently new people, because I know right now, like within at least the United States, I think the most like wanted job that kids want to have is actually like a vlogger slash influencer.
Yeah.
Like it's the most wanted job. But like back in the day when I started, the concept of making money from your videos was just brand new, and only like a select few people could do it. Like
Right.
it wasn't even like I just more wanted to do it just because I thought it was cool to like share videos with people at that time. Of course, once like time passed and I'd been doing graphics for a while, I kind of realized like I didn't want to do graphics anymore. I was kind of tired of that, and I didn't really care as much about, because I initially really wanted to be an engineer, but I just kind of realized I didn't really care as much about it, and I really wanted to make videos. And then I just kind of decided, you know what, last chance. I'm just going to pursue this, and we'll see how it goes. And yeah, well, here we are today.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of YouTubers who say they started with another channel and then they make a new one.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. Well, I even think PewDiePie to some extent did that as well. Like, I feel like at least there's only a few YouTubers that start with their original channel and actually continue with that, because I feel like a lot of us like start young, so we have like some really ridiculous names.
Right.
Like
really
I can
cringy
remember
old
some,
videos.
exactly that as well. But I feel like the names were like the worst part, because I used to call I used to have an awful like username like XX Pro Killer 27 or something. It was like just atrocious. It was like one of those Call of Duty, Xbox
Yeah.
Live type of username.
XX Dragon Lover.
Dr.
Yeah,
Death.
basically, pretty much.
All right. So, kind of tying into that, how did you come up with your YouTube name?
Oh, okay.
Current
So
one.
RuffledRowlit. So I was kind of just sitting with two friends, and I just told them like my whole like the idea of like last channel, last chance, all that. My goal for like that year. I just told them about that, and I was like, okay, I got to come up with a name. So I was like, okay, find me a really old British word like for like chubby, just find me like for chubby or like cute or something like that. Just find me some of those words. And my friend just found like a dictionary. He started just listing the names. And he was like, oh, like this, that, whatever. And then he just came to the word ruffled. And I was like, oh, I like that one. Wait, I got an ID. Ruffled, row, not Rowlet, but Rowlit, because I want to confuse people by having the name of like Rowlet and Litten, the start at like the first three letters of both those, which is always kind of funny to me because people refer to me as Rowlet when it's Rowlit actually. But like I'm so used to it at this point, it doesn't really matter. But like I always like people always used to tell me like, why'd you misspell your name? I'm like, I didn't really. Like the original plan was to have a Rowlet and a Litten in my profile picture, but I thought it would just be too cluttered, so I just went for the Rowlet because it was cuter, in my opinion. But
yeah.
so yeah, like that's sort of where the name came from for the most part.
Nice.
What was the other starter in that gen again?
Poplio.
Poplio.
Would have been funny if you could mix all three.
Oh god, Rowlet Pop. Oh god, that would have been interesting.
Crowlet.
Yeah, Rowlet Pop.
It's cool.
Rufflet.
You've already touched on it a little bit. But this person asked, I have to know, how did you grow such an amazing audience and what motivates you to keep going? I know there's some times where you're burnt out, but you seem to always bounce back with even more enthusiasm than before.
Well, I mean, audience, it's kind of weird because I've technically grown like 3 different audiences. As like my initial like start of my channel wasn't really like what it is today, because today I mostly do news and that sort of stuff, like rumors, leaks, etc., those sort of things, or at least for the time being. But I constantly keep jumping from this and that a little bit. Though recently it's been more like rumors and that sort of stuff for Pokemon. But generally like growing an audience, like I don't know, it's weird because I initially started with like top 10 videos. That's like my Pokemon top 10 videos were like the first thing I started with. And then I shifted from that over to like fan games. And that's where I feel like I grew like my channel the most and got like my most kind of active audience and got to know like sort of like a lot of really awesome people within like the Pokemon community. And also like I shared a love for like modding in video games and that sort of stuff, and like ROM hacks were really something I really liked. So I remember when I jumped into that aspect of like the community, I don't know, it really reinvigorated me because I was so tired of doing like top 10s all the time. But then the same thing happened with that. I got kind of tired of doing like fan games and ROM hacks nonstop every single day, and then I jumped to like news content, and I did that for like well over a year or so, almost 2 years now. I did that, and eventually, I got tired of that as well. So I like earlier this year, I tried a bunch of other content, like a little bit of, I don't know, like Easter egg videos or secrets in Pokemon, that sort of stuff. And like just try to do a little bit more highly edited stuff. Though recently, due to like me moving and stuff, I've just had to go back to news until I can kind of like get everything in order. But yeah, for generally though, like to not get burnt out, I've mostly just tried to shift my content every year or two, just like at least somewhat, so that it's not always exactly the same thing. But yeah, that's really what's like kind of kept me going. Though enthusiasm, like it really is a like with YouTube, it's a really like up and down kind of like thing. It's just 1 second you're at the top of the world, the next second you feel like you're at the bottom of the barrel, and it's just you just gotta push forward for the most part.
Kind of
Yeah,
ride the algorithm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Probably helps a little that you started out early-ish.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely gained a lot of experience early on from like a lot of different things because working like I've had well over I'd say at this point over like the last 9 years well over like 20 channels, but like none have been like actively, like only 3 of them have been actively pursued, whereas the other ones were just kind of tests to try out like content that I've always wanted to like try out because I don't know, I just like to mess around with everything possible. Like I did graphics for a while, like like for content creators and that sort of stuff, and then I've also sometimes like just messed around a little bit with like music and stuff, and like how's this done? I don't know, I just like to try new things out all the time. And currently, like my passion is just kind of editing and trying new things in editing. So I've been just messing around with that a lot. So yeah, it's just kind of like finding new things to do to kind of keep yourself like busy.
Cool.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah. So how did you come to know Kindred Fates?
I think it was one of the main developers of I think Monster Crown that hit me up about it. I think. Yeah, I think it was one of the main developers. I can't recall right now at the top of my head. But I think it was just telling me like, hey, these guys are making this game. They got an opportunity. You want to hit them up. Like they might be looking for somebody like you. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. Just send me like the contact info or whatever. And I think yeah, Rob, you were the first one I spoke to. And yeah, and we spoke about it. You showed it to me, and yeah, I think one of the first things I mentioned to you is like that it reminded me of Pokemon Generations, like the fan game. Yeah, because I remember like I looked at it, I was like, okay, so somebody's doing the one thing I've always wanted for Pokemon, like which is like an action combat system, like yeah. So I was like, this is amazing, and yeah, that's really how I got to know it. And then we spoke a few times over there, and all that sort of stuff. Made those I think 2 videos or 3 videos, I can't remember, and yeah. That's about the general story there.
It's nice of the Monster Crown dev to point you there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, big shout out to Devoted to Neurosis. He's a real good guy. That's his Discord tag. I think he goes by that as a developer name too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, they somewhat recently just launched their beta for Monster Crown, and it's real good. If you guys enjoy, monster battling fighting games, then go check it out. I'm assuming you do because you're here.
It's turn-based, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
No, they have this awesome breeding system that's unlike any other monster battling game out there. It's really cool.
Cool. Yeah. Well, and Rowlit, the effect that you had on our community was absolutely insane. Like it went from, being a very, very small group of people to like, oh, okay, this is actually starting to become something.
I think we were at like around 300 people or something, with like a couple active members. We'd see like a couple new posts a day on like our general chat, but yeah.
You absolutely
big difference.
exploded our community.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Well, I was actually really happy to see that whenever like whenever I promoted the Discord for the first time.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, it just made me kind of happy to see it like, get the attention that I think it does, like your game does deserve, as it's doing one of the things that I feel like Pokemon's like always been missing out on, which is kind of like making that like really awesome action combat type of monster
Yeah.
hunting game.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a pleasure, to work with you guys and promote your community, promote your Discord and your whole project and whatnot, and get it out there to people. Because, in all honesty, like if this was to get like large enough, I'd like instantly jump over to this rather than Pokemon.
Really?
I'm not even joking, by the way. I'm not even joking because like this, like personally, right? I prefer games where like I got more of like an actual impact on what happens within the combat. Right, like that's why I like playing a lot of like first-person shooters or RPGs where like
Yeah.
it's like action RPGs and that sort of stuff. Where like if I outskill the enemy, I can be like, oh yeah, I did that because I was better in terms of dodging and firing off my abilities at the right time and all that sort of stuff, rather than being like, oh yeah, your attack missed 3 times in a row because RNG.
Exactly.
It isn't as fun. It just isn't as interactive, I would say. So, in all honesty, I'd prefer to just non-stop be playing like Kindred Fates and just, yeeting around with like the different, Kinfolk and whatnot. Like, it would just, I don't know, I'd love that. I really do hope though the project like blows the hell up once like the like larger, like I guess once the full release and whatnot, which is like 2023, right?
That's what we're looking at. Yeah.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. And we should have enough content in there to keep people busy for a pretty long time. 159 different characters, and we really do try to keep them all as unique from each other as we can, and give them all a different play style. Not to mention like the different synergies between the characters. So the combinations there are pretty insane for like what play styles you can come up with.
For sure.
So, being a poketuber, have there been times where you want to make a video series based on other kinds of monster collection or monster capture genre games, such as Nexomon, Monster Crown, etc.?
For sure. Like, I actually wanted to do a Nexomon like live stream the other day. Only thing that happened though is like I just didn't have the bandwidth to actually download it. Which it was awful, but luckily though my internet's just getting better and better like over time now. Because I actually just gotta talk to like I gotta literally talk to the providers, and they gotta like actually adjust the giant like cell tower over there to like just get better connection. I'm paying as much as I possibly can to have a better internet here, which it's basically I'm in the middle of a village, so it's a little bit complicated with the internet. But yeah, I was gonna actually play Nexomon though and make a live stream on it, but that just literally didn't happen because I couldn't download it. That was about it. But beyond that though, I would love to make videos on more like monster capturing games. I just feel like there isn't enough out there to make a to dedicate your channel to just monster capturing games as a whole. Like, there's definitely enough, like, within, like, Pokemon, for example, right, to do a whole channel about Pokemon, because there's such a big history and so many games, and it's so large and popular that, it's easier to do it there. But if you look at, like, a lot of the other stuff, it's just, there's not enough there. I mean, Nexomon's got 2 releases now, right? Nexomon and Nexomon Extinction, I'm pretty sure, which is the one on the Switch now. Like, that is 2 games, but there's it's only 2 games. There's probably not enough there to base a whole channel on it. And that's kind of the thing with YouTube, is like you got to base your channel on something that is going to have a longevity, and Pokemon does have that because of its long history and because of its constant popularity, and never really dipping down in popularity much, always staying kind of up there. But if there is something that comes out and can rival Pokemon, whether it be Kindred Fates or whether it be something else, I am on board to because I'm always looking for to see if anything's gonna just kind of knock Pokemon off of its pedestal, as I feel like Pokemon is just kind of like it's doing so little to actually change the formula or move the whole concept of monster capturing games forward, whereas a lot of
they've been kind of cruising a little bit.
Exactly. Whereas a lot of the fans out there who are making their own projects and that sort of stuff, and like smaller studios, are making a lot more interesting ideas and pursuing a lot a lot of things that they aren't doing. Like Temtem, for example, literally made a monster capturing MMO. It's a straight up MMO. With Monster Crown, you've got basically going back to kind of the old school style of what Pokemon kind of looked like, but like still different enough that it's not like just a carbon copy of like, I don't know, like gold, silver or something, but
Yeah.
like, you know, unique in its own style and everything, and
It's got,
unique
like,
monsters.
Infinite hybrids too.
True. And you also then got Kindred Fates, which, you know, besides your, you know, combat style, you guys are also doing something which Pokemon, I don't understand why they haven't done it, but which is like, you know, having more like branched evolutions and stuff.
Right.
I like that's something I never understood why Pokemon just kind of dropped the ball on. Like they've got a few of those, right? Like I think we've got that with like whenever you get like Hitmonchan, Hitmontop. No, not Hitmonchan, no, Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee from like Hitmontop. I don't even remember, honestly.
Yeah.
I can't remember honestly right now. I cannot
Oh, you're
recall.
good.
Yeah, but like basically, like you got a few Pokemon that can do that, but it's never to the extreme that like you guys go with it. Because I was looking at some of the like Kinfolk, like, you know, kind of branched like evolutions, especially for Auburn, because I freaking love that thing. It's just adorable.
Yeah.
And I'm really sad because weren't you guys doing like a thing for whatchamacallit, for like some
Plushie?
Kickstarter supporters were like, yeah, plushie. And I was so pissed off that like I didn't even realize that was an option. I would have definitely gotten it.
Oh,
I didn't even realize it was a
Oh,
freaking option.
no.
But yeah, so I was looking at like its branch evolution, and I like how like if you go one way, guess what? You don't have any more options to evolve it. But if you go another way, hey, here you go. There's more options, you know, and not just like one option, but two more options. It's just I like that idea. I think that's like really like cool and unique because it just adds another element to gameplay,
Yeah.
which I feel like Pokemon has just kind of been like what Pokemon's been kind of doing is just subsidizing that like away with like really just, you know, kind of gimmicks for the most part, right? Like Gigantamaxing or Dynamaxing or Megas or
Z
Z
crystals, yeah.
Exactly. It's always like some sort of gimmick that just kind of replaces, you know, like something else that should be there, or like, you know, I don't know, like for example, they haven't included a Battle Frontier in a long time.
Right,
And you know, and they never really like there was always excuses for it. And it always feels with them, it's like they add in a feature in one game and then remove it in the next game, and their excuse is, oh, we didn't think it fit there.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's and like the same thing as with like, you know, Sword and Shield. They were like, oh, following Pokemon didn't fit there. But then they added it in the Isle of Armor DLC, and I'm just like, well, why didn't you just do this from the beginning? Like, why wasn't this here,
Yeah.
you know, in the start? But
Things
you
like
know,
secret bases or
Yeah, the secret
versus
bases.
Exactly.
Seeker.
They brought that
Oh,
back
yeah.
in, what was it, like Omega Sapphire and
yes, sir.
yeah, it was like the tree houses or whatever.
Well, you could just make them anywhere. You know, like the secret bases, you just like find an area and just like plop, and there you go. You just got a secret base, which is really awesome. I like that. Like player housing is awesome. In general, I like that in MMOs, as I do play a lot of MMOs on my free time, and I love MMOs that do have like housing systems and that sort of stuff where you can just kind of like decorate your own little area.
Yeah.
So, and also you can see that clearly people enjoy that just by the popularity of like something like Animal Crossing.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like that whole game is just that. It's just decorating
thing.
an island, you know? Like that's the whole game. And if there's like, I don't know how many copies it's sold, like 15 million or something. It's pretty large. But like, if, you know, if that many people want to just do that in a, like, that's the whole experience of a game. If there's enough people that want to do that, just do a simple version of that in your game. And trust me, people will enjoy it. And you know, people will like play your game for longer. Because we've got this whole like, don't we have like recently in gaming, there's this whole like games as a service model and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like Pokemon kind of want to do that, but I don't think they know how to do it. It's almost like that. It's like, I think they want to do that. And I think all of Nintendo wants to do that, but they don't really know how to do it because they're so used to just releasing a game and there's your full experience, nothing else to it, right? That you bought a full game and that's it. So they don't know how to do it. So they're just kind of like, oh, well, what if we do a DLC for like, I don't know, they did like one of them Breath of the Wild for like vehicles and stuff. And it's like, that's cool and all, but like, you know, maybe a full DLC with like a new area would be cool. I don't know. But you know, it is what it is.
Right. Yeah, and player housing is actually something that we're planning on including too.
Yeah. We showed it off a little bit on our trailer.
Just a little bit. Yeah. Just a little bit, but
I remember seeing a little bit of that.
We'll have a lot more in the whole game.
I think the bonding system also adds a lot of depth. I know Pokemon has kind of tried to do that a little bit with Pokemon ME and the camps.
Yeah, but the problem with that is it's more about like, I don't know how you guys are gonna like do it, but like with Pokemon, it's just like, oh, you know, get this number of happiness and there you go, that's it, right? Like there's really nothing else to it. It's just achieve this number and now you maybe have a possibility to evolve this Pokemon because that's what it needs.
Right. Or you get like a little more damage on your return. But which is return even a move anymore?
I think I'm not sure if it is in Sword and Shield because they removed a bunch of moves, but I cannot recall if it is or not.
I think they axed return and frustration, or like some of the two that they. Yeah, but anyway,
So,
yeah, we plan on having a bit more depth than that in our system, like with bonding. You know, like for example, if you like lower your bond way too low, you know, these creatures are sentient, so they can just be like, you know what, screw this, I'm not like I don't have to stick around you, and they'll just leave. But you know, for that to happen, you still have to like actively do things that you know they don't like. For example, they're gonna have like different personalities as well. So you know, maybe you're the kind of person that really likes to play as the good guy, and so you find like monsters that are also like that kind of personality type, where they like, you know, they kind of want to be the hero sort of, and so they'll want you to make those kind of decisions as you play throughout the story, and they'll like that, and that'll raise your bond with them, and you can give them, you know, the kind of food that they like and things like that. But let's say that, you know, you're not the kind of player that wants to play as like a hero, and you're just kind of an asshole to people, or you know, you make decisions in the story that you know, could harm a lot of people. Those characters probably aren't going to want to stick with you if you continue to make decisions like that.
No, that makes total sense, and I think one of the things that really intrigued me about your game is the idea of like Kinfolk actually dying.
Yeah.
Like, I love that idea. Like, it sounds grim, and I remember like when I covered this like in my video about it, I was like bear with me, people. I'm not trying to say like, oh, cool, you can kill your little monsters. No, right. Like what I'm thinking more is like there's a risk reward type of deal with it, right? So you won't like take on maybe battles if you know you're too far away from like your camp or whatever to run back and, you know, grab their, I guess, souls or whatever. Like, you know, you won't take on battles that you know may be risky or you may lose them. You'll avoid, like, you know, it's like if I take this battle, I may be rewarded by doing so. But if I also take it, there's a risk I may actually not be able to save, you know, my little guy, you know, like, you may not survive. Right. So that, like, that's such a big dynamic. Because, like, in Pokemon, if you faint, if your Pokemon faints, or if you know, you black out, oh, boohoo, you just got to run, you know, you get teleported to a Pokemon Center and then run back to, like, the gym or whatever you just lost at, you know what I mean? Like, there's no actual risk in it, which I feel like this adds a risk, and that I like. I really like that because I don't know, it just makes the whole, like, gameplay experience a lot more, like, personal almost.
Right, absolutely. Because when you know that you could lose somebody, like, at any time, you're so much more careful with how you approach things, and, like, the actual combat itself is so much more meaningful, and it's so much more like buildup of tension and then release when you finally win, because you know, okay, cool, we're safe now, instead of just like, all right, there's another trash mob down.
Yeah, I mean, Pokemon nowadays is just spam the A button, like, for the most part. Just have your, like, strongest move as the first move, and spam the A button, you know. Like, if you got, like, a fire-type Pokemon, just spam Ember or Flamethrower or whatever you got.
Yeah, Arcanine used to write Flamethrower for the 50th time.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Janet says, or you could do a no Kinfolk run.
This is also potentially possible. I don't know if we've, like, I mean, we're so early in development, it's like hard to say, but with what we're thinking of at the moment, it's hypothetically possible that you could maybe go through the entire game without using a single Kinfolk, as the player character will actually have, like, this really, like, wimpy, like, punch. Like, they suck at combat. Like, humans are no good at it, but technically you can throw out this little, like, 1 damage sort of punch thing, and
that would be awesome.
Yeah,
like, that actually sounds fantastic.
Beat Ganondorf with a stick.
I think it'll be really funny if the game doesn't account for you winning that way. So at the end, like, you know, that Elite Four montage it does in Pokemon.
Right. Oh, it's just
it's like you got here with the help of your team.
It's just you. Or no, we just fill all the slots in with, like, copies of you. It's like you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we have you do, like, a little crying animation.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I don't look forward to QA testing some certain features that I can think of right now that's going to require me to, like, spawn a Kinfolk, kill it intentionally, check something. Oh, well, that didn't work. All right, spawn 50 more Kinfolk, kill them all with a console command. Like it's like this is not gonna feel good.
Yeah,
This literally sounds like the start of like a serial killer's like backstory or something.
Yeah.
Like, just sitting there like killing these creatures. I
Right.
have a lust for killing human.
Yeah.
Like, jeez, like, oh boy.
Over and over. Man,
Because it's a game mechanic. Gonna have
you
to
got a
test
dark
it.
job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gonna have to
no,
test
not only
it.
that, you have to guarantee that they're dead. You have to be like, okay, all right, they're dead. I killed it, but I have to guarantee that they'll never come back.
Yeah.
no.
Let me make
That's
sure
in
that
the
they're
job
actually and
Oh, God.
properly dead.
I
Right.
have to make sure the sad music cues at the right time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and it's like, oh, it came back twice. Now there's two
Yeah.
of them.
Right. Oh man.
So Rowlet, I think you already mentioned it, but what's your favorite Kinfolk design and why?
Definitely Auburn, because I remember that, like, I just saw it. Like, I know it's like technically basically the Pikachu of
Yeah,
of
kinda is.
Kindred Fates. It really is, right? So yeah, I get that aspect of like, oh, it's the most popular one, I would assume. But I don't know, it's just adorable. Like, I remember like when I first saw it, and it reminded me of like I remember like seeing a Fakemon design for like a Pokemon Fire Starter,
Yeah.
and it was a bear. And I freaking love bears. Like, they're freaking adorable. Especially like baby bear cubs and whatnot. Like, they're so
I'd like to
cute.
introduce you to Ember.
Yeah, like they're so like adorable. And I remember like seeing that. I was like, this, like, it's precious. We need to protect it. And like, I remember I saw like its evolutions and like how that worked, because I think that was like the first one I got to see from you, Rob. Like, when you sent me images and stuff, I think that was the first one where I saw the split evolutions, and I saw like I think it was Ember and Cal Knight. And I saw like the how it splits off, and I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And I just like, I don't know, I just fell in love with it. But I do say though, like, a strong second though is definitely Kodoki, because I remember seeing like how it like squishes together within like like in the animation, and I was like, I need this. I need this in my life. It's adorable. It's a little acorn or whatever, and it's just I want it. So yeah, definitely a strong second.
Yeah, he's a real squishy guy.
Yeah, Tori is screaming in the chat right now because she's the one that designed Kodoki.
No, it's definitely adorable. I freaking love it.
So I think you've answered some of the second part already, but what series of your videos are you most proud of? What type of content do you enjoy making the most?
Ooh, so series of videos. I think my most recent stuff is what I'm most proud of. Like, not like the last month or so, but like over the course of this year. Because I kind of just upped like I don't know. I just want to learn more editing, so I've been just kind of upping the quality on like the edited videos and stuff. So I've probably mostly enjoyed like those sort of videos, like finding like the secrets in Pokemon, like Easter eggs and like hidden things. Like, I don't know. I just really like that sort of stuff. Like, I always like that in video games, but the thing with Pokemon is there's not so much of it, but the stuff that is there is pretty cool. So I always like, love that, but I never really thought about covering in videos. And I was like, oh, let's just try this out, see how it goes. And yeah, I freaking like loved it, and people seem to love it as well, and it got really good reception. And I don't know, just like doing it, and each time kind of just
It's always the best, right? When you have a series or something that you really enjoy, and like you make content on it, and then other people, like, that's also what they're really into. Just kind of this nice feedback loop.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Sometimes I'll have like things I want to work on or ideas that just don't resonate with the audience, or they just don't care about it, or just the algorithm is just like, giving you just the long finger, like, oh, it's just not your day.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times that definitely a lot of that. But I don't know. Like, I would say definitely though, my recent stuff, like the secrets and Easter eggs and those sort of things, definitely my probably favorite stuff, as well as like Pokemon facts and stuff. Because there's some weird Pokemon manga out there with like really strange things, and I don't know, I just find it fun to like explore that sort of stuff. So definitely that. But when it comes to like generally what kind of content, if I don't look at that, the stuff I mostly had fun with back in the day was probably like fan games and stuff. Because I don't know, it was just like something really fun about like exploring new like games every day. Like, people would just send you their fan games and be like, oh, check this out, and you'd be like, okay, sure, I'll just check it out, and you check it out and you play it, and it's like, it's always something different. It was like, of course there was always those like, kind of generic Fire Red like ROM hacks, like, oh, I made Fire Red, but I added in like, just stronger Pokemon. I'm like, okay, cool, but didn't really do much visually changing things. But then you have those like massive fan games where they make like insane amounts of like Fakemon and stuff like that. And I think that's definitely the stuff that just made me really like enjoy that sort of content. Like it was really fun to like just see new stuff every day. Basically, there's no day where it was identical. It was always something slightly different. Like sure, it was all Pokemon, but it was always somewhat different.
Yeah, Pokemon Uranium definitely comes to mind when I think of like fan games that really like went out there with it.
Yeah, I mean Uranium, Phoenix Rising, Pokemon. What else? There's so many out there, really, when you think about it. Pokemon Snakewood. Like there's loads. There's really, really loads. Like I mean, there's almost a fake like a Pokemon fan game for everything. Like there's one Pokemon ROM hack with literally all the Ben 10 like aliens and stuff in it.
I used to watch
like,
Ben 10.
It's really weird, but it exists. Somebody made it. There's one with like all the Dragon Ball characters as well. There's so many. Like people just, I don't know, people just love Pokemon, so they like just putting other franchises into it. They do that, or they just like make their own versions of it, which I always think is cool, and I always hate when Nintendo goes after them for it, because that's what they did with like Uranium and Generations. And Generations, there you go. There's like wow, that game was. I'm so sad because they tried to recreate that again. Yeah. Different group tried to like restart the project, and it just didn't really go well. But that whole thing is basically like Pokemon, but like in the style of like Kindred Fates, I would say.
Yeah.
Minus a lot of the features you guys have come up with, but like there's just the combat and movement and stuff.
Absolutely. I know. In all honesty, after seeing Generations, that was like, to me, what I always wanted to see from Pokemon after that. And so it was, several years later before we started really building Kindred Fates, or considering that as like a game to make. But once that was like, okay, we're going to make an open world monster battling game, like, or combine, Breath of the Wild and Pokemon, and we were trying to think about what that should look like from a combat perspective, it was like, oh yeah, Generations, what they did. That was awesome.
For sure.
Yeah.
And Poke Park.
Oh, and you mentioned too, like digging into all the secrets and stuff that Pokemon has. What's
Rob
really cool?
loves secrets.
I do. What I think is really cool there is not only are there all these secrets that you can kind of find in the games or in the if you can call it like an extended universe, like in the manga and things like that. But there's also all this sort of folklore that developed around the games as well. Things like the Mew under the truck and things that came from glitches.
Definitely. There's loads of that. I actually think I did a video about that like 2 months ago or something. Specifically like Pokemon Urban Legends from Pokemon. Yeah, like because there's loads of those. Like you mentioned, the Mew under the truck, the Lavender Town syndrome, that whole thing.
Yes.
Like Pokemon Black version. I don't know if you've heard about that one. Like this like this weird Pokemon game where like it like you get a ghost and you kill every like other Pokemon whenever you go into a battle, and then at the end of the game the ghost kills you. It's weird stuff, but like it's these like weird like urban legends and stuff that just get created. Like I don't feel like that's as much around today because we got data mining and stuff, and you just get all the actual info directly. But back in the day when the internet wasn't as like widespread. And you couldn't just look anything. Yeah, exactly. It just all went by like like a schoolyard, like gossip and rumors and stuff.
About it. They're like, yeah, if you go
exactly,
you got to surf by the SS Annie, and you can get to that truck, and it's like, well, but there's no way to get there, and yeah.
Yep. I remember that about Ruby and Sapphire. People being like, oh, if you do this, you can get like every single Pokemon in the game or whatever. Like I don't know, some weird like thing. You got to surf off like to the right side of the whole map and surf as far as possible and stuff like that. But like that's also like where the fun part comes in. Like I love when Pokemon actually does add in stuff, where it does require you to do some really weird shit. Like I don't know if you remember this from Ruby and Sapphire actually, but I've covered this in quite a few videos. But there is like to get like the Regis, if you remember those, like Registeel, Regirock, Regice, to get them, you need to have a Wailord and a Relicanth, right? And you need to put one in the top of your party and one in the bottom of your party. Now, how did anybody figure this out? I don't know. Because I would have never in my wildest dreams figured that out without watching a video, which is what I had to do. A friend showed me it on his old
I
Nokia
actually-
or something.
Yeah, dude, I had a strategy guide. That's the only way I was able to figure that out. Is I had like a Pokemon Emerald strategy guide that talked about the Relicanth and the Wailord, and I think they even had they had like a Braille chart in there so that you could like decode the Braille. And I remember sitting down with like a pen and paper and like writing down all the Braille codes and translating it. That was like one of my favorite like childhood memories of Pokemon. Was like trying to solve that puzzle.
See, I wish I had that because I didn't even know English at the time. So I didn't even know what the hell I was reading in the game. I was just kind of making my way forward, like just purely like based on like instinct and luck. Like I was stuck in like I had to like finished Ruby within like the span of 3 years. It took me 3 years to finish the game because I didn't know the language. So it was like it was really a hit and miss, and I didn't have internet at the time. So the only time I got to figure out like the whole thing about the Reggies was literally when a friend just told me like, showed me on his phone like in like an old phone. So YouTube was like atrociously slow and whatnot. But I remember him showing me like, this is how you do it. And I watched that and I was like, holy crap, you can get these amazing legendary. I mean, I didn't know at the time that they were actually not that amazing, but I was like, these amazing legendaries, this is how you get them. Oh my God. And I just like freaked the hell out.
That's really funny.
And got them. And it was so cool because it's such a unique way. Like, oh, you got to place one at the top of your party, one at the bottom of your party. Like, how would you randomly think about that? Like, it's just so random. And then having the whole Braille thing, right? And like the text and whatnot, and like the secrets behind it. It's just so interesting. I love that. And I love when they do that with the games. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a lot of that recently. I feel like, at least with Sword and Shield, it wasn't. I don't know about Sun and Moon, but with Sword and Shield, there was like definitely a lack of that. There was a lack of a lot of secret stuff, like, really a lack of that sort of stuff, which is really sad because I don't know. I like secrets and Easter eggs in basically every game because I don't know if you guys have ever played World of Warcraft by any chance.
No,
I do.
So I love World of Warcraft. I mean, sure, they have they make a lot of weird choices in terms of developing their game, but I have to give credit where credit is due to the developers, where they just leave these weird little Easter eggs and little I don't know, callbacks and whatnot in like the world, and it's a huge world at the end of the day, right? Like it's a whole it's an MMO, so it's like massive. So they'll just leave these weird little things, or they'll leave there'll be parts in the game where you can just glitch into them, and it's these like areas that were unfinished, and you can just go exploring there and just find the weirdest things. Like the creepiest part is there's like a part in World of Warcraft where they had planned, I guess, a raid or a dungeon. I'm not really sure, and it's basically this place where like a bunch of like corpses that are hung upside down, like in water and whatnot.
Oh,
And it's got this creepy background, like ominous, not even music, just this ominous ambience in the background when you walk through there. And there's like this corner with a bunch of like, I don't know, bones and stuff. It's really weird. But like that sort of stuff, I've always enjoyed like those little things in games that are just kind of left behind. And it's up to the players to just kind of go and find them and explore and, just kind of, I don't know, see what's out there. Whereas I feel like there's a lack of that, definitely in Pokemon, but also in gaming in general, I feel, in the recent times.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is pretty good with Easter eggs like that too.
I haven't played it actually yet.
there's some
I
really
would
good
say
Easter eggs
Rockstar in
there.
general, they tend to be pretty good about that kind of thing. I played the crap out of GTA 5, and
Oh
there's
boy,
definitely a
haven't we
lot of
all.
that in there.
Oh yeah, there's definitely loads of those in GTA 5 for sure. And like the older GTAs as well. I'm pretty sure. I think there is. Yeah, it's definitely in like San Andreas and Vice City as well.
They have
Right,
the giant chocolate Easter egg, and like at the top of the Statue of Liberty, this plaque that says "There's no Easter eggs up here."
Yeah. Of course, all the chili ad stuff and like Bigfoot and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, Bigfoot. Yeah, that's a big one. Man, I remember when that was like a big like urban legend back in the day.
Yes.
Like find
Yes.
Bigfoot in like San Andreas. Go to this and this spot in the map. Yeah, that was nuts.
Right. Yeah, I think since like maybe Black and White or Black and White 2, I feel like that's when I personally started to notice like a big shift in how they were developing their games and including that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was the last one I ever
Yeah.
played. It's Black and White.
I think. Oh, that's sad. I mean, that was the last. That was the. It's just sad because in reality, you stopped at the perfect time. Like,
Oh, really?
technically speaking, because it hasn't gone upwards since then. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's been atrocious,
Yeah.
but it hasn't really gone upwards. I mean, X and Y, I never got to play them on release. I've only really played them a little bit, like, recent times on emulators and stuff. But like, if I look back in whatever way, like if I look back, everything in the past I remember was like so much better, but now it's just kind of gone downhill over time. Like Oras, for example, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Those were good remakes in my mind, but they definitely made a lot of mistakes as well, though. In terms of like development and stuff, like they include the Battle Frontier and kind of made this like little statue just kind of taunt people, like, oh, this is where it should have been. It's a giant middle finger to like everybody's like, it should have been here, but we didn't bother making it, so suck it. It's just I don't know. But yeah, like Black and White, that's where kind of like the last like truly great Pokemon games were. Ever since, it's just kind of been like either lackluster or just kind of like okay games, or like not good games. It's it's in that spectrum.
Yeah, it's been a lot more focused on like the gimmick of the game ever since then. I think we had the Mega Evolutions, and then what was the Z Crystals after that, and now we're at Gigantamax and Dynamaxing.
It's kind of weird because they have a really strange parallel, I feel like, to other franchises, which is again World of Warcraft as well as Call of Duty. Because I don't know, I think Neve, I think you said you played World of Warcraft as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So have you noticed in also World of Warcraft how like every new expansion, rather than like working on the classes and adding more to the world and more dungeons and raids, what they do is
upcoming level squish.
Not just that, but like they just add these gimmicks, these weird gimmicks to like, instead of like making it so like for example, there's a new expansion coming out soon, and what they're doing instead of like adding like to the classes or improving the classes in the game, instead they're like, oh, let's just add another like arbitrary system into the game, like the same way they do gimmicks in Pokemon. Like, oh, let's in Pokemon it's like Dynamaxing or Megas or Z moves or whatever it is. Same thing with World of Warcraft. They do the same thing. And I think Call of Duty did that as well for a while, where they just kind of make up gimmicks. Like, oh, now you can run on walls.
The Black Ops 4 special system,
Exactly. They come up with gimmicks instead of improving on the core game that people enjoy. And like the Pokemon, like up until like before Black and White, before X and Y, actually, there weren't really gimmicks in Pokemon. There wasn't really actually a true gimmick, each generation. There wasn't. There just really wasn't. But then when X and Y came out, we got the Megas, and that's where it started. Like, Megas were a cool concept, but then after that, it was like, oh, now we have Z moves, and now we have Dynamaxing, and who knows what the next thing might be.
I think people really expect I think people really expect to expand on like the Mega system and like add more Megas over time. Because the nice thing about it, despite the problems it had, especially with like dramatically changing some characters for the worse for how they looked, but it did make characters like Mawile viable again competitively, which I thought was really cool, and like actually let you use characters that you would otherwise not use at all.
I mean, definitely did that for sure, but like the problem is they didn't give it to they gave it more to Pokemon that were already popular to begin with.
Oh yeah, no, they absolutely
useful. Whereas like they should have given it to Pokemon that weren't popular and deserved it more and needed it more in terms of like making them viable within like actual gameplay. But I feel like what the problem is, it's more like that they're just relying on these gimmicks rather than improving upon the core gameplay of the game. I feel like that's what the issue is, because Pokemon has really not changed if you actually think about it. It hasn't really changed since, well, I think since like Gen 3, it hasn't really changed much, like in terms of, not even Gen 3, like since Gen 1 actually. It hasn't really changed in its, foundation or improved really much besides, I guess, the graphics, but that's whatever when you, like look at where it should be today in terms of graphics.
Yeah. I think looking at it purely from change, they've definitely gotten a lot more. One big change is like the hand holdiness. There's a lot more forced cutscenes that you're kind of trapped in. So there's definitely that, which I guess makes it more approachable for like an even younger audience. So I guess that's a benefit there, but definitely for people who have grown up playing Pokemon games, it's definitely a change for the worse.
I played Pokemon Emerald before I could read.
I played Fire Red before I could read.
Yeah.
Well, see, I played Pokemon without even knowing the language, so like I didn't even know what the hell I was looking at. Like if it said fight, I just kind of like automatically like realized, oh, this is where I press to actually battle. So like I just kind of make my way for guess my way forward.
I somehow managed to, and Rob likes to tell the story a lot, but I somehow managed to trap myself when I was playing Fire Red because I couldn't read. I skipped a gym somehow, and it was the gym that gave you the strength HM, And so I got on the island with Moltres, and I didn't have the strength HM, and so I couldn't actually get to Moltres, and they wouldn't let you leave the island until you had Moltres. So it was a fun little time of me just like trying to figure out what was wrong.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, that's rough.
Rowlet, someone is curious what your first language is, if you want to say.
Oh, this is a weird one because technically my first language is Bosnian, technically speaking, because that's the first language I learned. But I speak Bosnian fluently, but I also speak Swedish fluently because that's where I basically grew up. Um, but since my parents don't really speak Swedish, I speak Bosnian with them. So I don't know. It's like basically those two. It's kind of interchangeable, to be honest. Bosnian and Swedish. It's kind of like interchangeable for me because those are the ones that I speak the most every single day.
Nice.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So Rowlet, since Kindred Fates won't be out before 2023, full release anyway, and the alpha is just around the corner of this year, what do you hope to see most in the alpha?
Ooh, definitely want to like try out the combat because I'm really excited about the combat.
That'll definitely be there.
Yeah, definitely for sure. That's what I'm expecting, you know. But like, I'm just so excited to try it out because, like I mentioned, like I like games where it's like more interactive, like where there's an element to the combat or the gameplay rather that's not just press this button and action happens or doesn't happen or you miss or whatever. Turn-based combat, it can be fun, but I prefer more like interactive action-based combat, and that's like what I'm like really, really excited to try out and see how it feels. With the aiming and stuff, and like abilities and all that. Like I'm just really excited to see how that's going to actually look like and how it's going to feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to showing it off.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Not today though. Don't get your hopes up.
So Rowlet, I don't know if you've kept up to date, but how's your impression of the game now compared to when you made the first video, Kindred Fates?
Well, I haven't really. I mean, I've been kind of popping into the Discord once in a while, and I do have like the YouTube channel kind of like on my all notifications. So whenever like anything is uploaded, I do get notified. And I haven't really seen like I've seen like a few of like the dev updates because I do jump up the Kickstarter and check what happens there. So I've seen some of that stuff, but I haven't really seen like. You guys haven't dropped a new trailer, like a big trailer,
no,
right?
We haven't.
No,
yet.
yeah. So
That's
haven't
actually
really
one of the questions later.
yeah. So I definitely then haven't really, really not missed anything because I've just been kind of like idly standing by because I know you guys are working on that alpha, like the combat, like alpha. What is it like a combat alpha, right?
Yeah,
The alpha arena. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been kind of like awaiting that and just waiting to see what that's going to look like. So yeah, that's really like that's really all. Like I don't know, like my impressions haven't really changed much. I'm still excited to play it because of the style of the game and like also like the things I mentioned earlier, the idea of like, well, guess what? If it dies, you may lose your kinfolk. The combat being like Pokemon Generations. Generally the vibe of the game, and also I remember telling you, Rob, I freaking love the music. By the way,
Thank you.
like I'm gonna tell you, dude, I love the music. I actually downloaded it for a while and I had it like just on
man.
I loved it, man. Like it was so like and you told me like that it was something you just quickly put together. And I was like, that was good for something that you just quickly put together though. Like it really does sound good. And if you can like deliver like music like that, because like I don't know, it's got this like weird like it's almost like ominous but also exhilarating at the same time. Like I don't know, it's weird because it starts off like really calm. And then it's like it like ramps up and you're like, oh my god. I don't know. I really love the music. So I can't wait to see what you guys are gonna do with that because I know that's something that people always praise Pokemon for. No matter what game it is, Pokemon always gets praised for its music, which hands down they do a lot of great work there.
Yeah.
So I hope you like just so far, just from like that trailer music and that first like track that I've like that I've seen you like create or I've listened to, already love it. So I'm excited to see how that's gonna look like, with like other tracks and how that's gonna be like in the game. I'm hoping you're gonna deliver that same level of like freaking awesomeness. But yeah,
I think we might even be able to go a little bit higher. I have been working with a fantastic composer on the soundtrack that we're like creating for the full game going forward, and we're gonna have at least two, maybe up to four different tracks that'll be in the alpha. I'm really excited for the stuff that we've got so far. The track that kind of plays while you're in the main menu or like customizing your kinfolk and stuff. Really happy with that one.
dude, I can't wait to listen to it, man. I'm genuinely excited about it because I loved that like trailer track, and I was like, this actually sounds awesome. So
Yeah.
I'm really exhilarated to actually see what it's gonna sound like.
I should send you his old music channel from a few years ago.
Please don't. Oh man,
It's really
That stuff
good.
is-
I don't know why you're not proud of it. You should be.
it's old.
Dude, that's totally fine, man. I would gladly check it out if you're okay with it, because I don't know,
I mean, I
I'm
guess, like,
not even
really
kidding, bro.
like
Like
it.
that
He doesn't
song
like
in Kindred Fates, bro, it genuinely sounds like freaking awesome. Like like I don't usually praise game soundtracks unless it's like something I really really enjoy. Like I don't know, for example, like The Last of Us, like the first Last of Us game, like that, like main soundtrack that's like
Yes.
at the start screen, like it's one of my favorite tracks of all time, and I freaking love it. And I did like that's one of the few like soundtracks from a video game that I actually really love, and yours is like to me within that range. Because it just sounds awesome. Like it is. I don't know. Sometimes with music, music is really weird because something that can just like be in your head and like, oh, this sounds just like, I don't know, it's got a vibe to it. It's got a really cool vibe to it, and I really like it.
Man, thank you. That's a high compliment. That's high praise.
Rob, Blues in the Discord server wanted to ask if at any point any artists sing a song in the game.
If at any point we're gonna have an artist sing a song, is that the question?
Yeah.
Well,
Or just anyone, I guess.
we might. We're still very early in like the process of creating the soundtracks. I know that I have a couple tracks in mind already that I have vocals planned for, but they're not words, or if they are words, they won't be English words. But yeah, as far as like a song, like a more traditional like verse chorus, and you've got somebody like singing words, nothing planned at the moment.
But probably some vocals.
There'll probably be some vocals in the soundtrack somewhere.
Kindred Fates the musical.
But yeah, Rowlit for KF News. You could look at the bi-weekly newsletters or the official media channel on the server.
Yeah, I tend to like jump in once in a while and just check what's up.
I could also send you a couple meme gifs.
Just from time to time.
That sounds
meme
alright.
community stays pretty strong.
So just a couple more questions for you. Are more KF videos a possibility when there are public builds released, like the alpha, beta, full release?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, for sure. Like definitely. Like I don't know. I'm just really excited to just try it out, because I remember I was asking Rob for like a really long time, because there have been delays, right? Like due to things happening in like well, the state of the world of this year basically has been, well, it's been a disaster, to be frankly honest. I remember you telling me like there were a few delays in terms of that, like just things are happening, so it's totally expected. But yeah, I asked you a few times like how's it coming along, because I remember when you guys meant to be at like one of those conferences.
We planned on being at over in LA for was it Gamescom? It wasn't PAX, I don't think.
GDC and
GDC, it was
E3.
GDC.
GDC, yeah.
Yeah, we were gonna be at both, but yeah, everything happened with the pandemic this year, so it was close. Like I think we canceled like a week before or something. That's when they like gave the notice that they were gonna be canceling GDC, and then shortly after E3 canceled as well, which was good, but definitely like disappointing. And when we were working on at the time getting something together that would be less than what we're like bringing for the alpha, but like still like playable at a really, really basic level. But I think what we're doing with the alpha is going to be a lot cooler now.
No, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. I'm definitely gonna be making content on it for sure. 100%.
Cool.
Cool. Look forward to that.
Very much.
It'll be nice when conventions can happen again.
Yeah, that's something we've been talking about too, actually, is like we would love to go to a convention and kind of show off the game or you know, meet people in person, but it's just not really doable yet.
Really, Rob? You'd be willing to meet people in person?
Yeah, sure.
They have to see your face, Rob.
Yeah, you can't wear a paper bag over your head.
Well, we'll figure something out.
I'm gonna come and I'm gonna bring a camera.
Yeah, I'll be I don't know, I'll take a note out of another YouTuber's book. I'll go like full fursuit
Oh my
or
gosh.
something.
I will give
Well,
my
you
Auburn.
did-
I will give my
Well, you
Auburn
got
plushie
Auburn
to
mask,
anyone
dude.
who can snap a
Yeah.
picture of Rob's face.
There you go.
Or Rob, just program the world to blur out your face.
Yeah.
So last question for Rowlet. It's the hardest one. Every guest gets it. What's your favorite pretzel dip?
Oh god. I don't know, because I have never really, and you're gonna hate me for this, but I've never actually had a pretzel.
Oh really?
Same
No,
for me,
no.
really.
It's actually not a thing over here. Like at least not in Sweden. I mean, I don't know. I've never really. I mean, there's small pretzels, you know, like tiny ones.
Yeah.
But I've never had like one of those large ones. So I don't know. Like,
I've actually never
Wow.
had a fresh pretzel either.
I thought they were pretty big in like Germany, but I guess that's still
Bavaria.
fairly.
yeah, that's right underneath Sweden technically, but I've never. I mean, there's probably some like it probably does exist somewhere in Sweden, but I've never really seen it in a store or anything. You know,
Uh-huh.
so
Just
I don't know. But
picture-
like,
Just picture what dip you'd want to use for like a salty bread.
Yeah, like a big.
okay, so
a breadstick
oh
or
man,
something.
Yeah, breadstick.
I'd probably say like sour cream and onion, probably something like that. Like,
Okay.
so
That's a
yeah,
new
it's like,
one.
yeah,
That's a good one, but a new one.
not cool.
Ducky's mad that I haven't had a fresh pretzel, but it's not my fault. I don't live in
We're
New
gonna-
York.
We're gonna have to put all the plushie shipments on hold to ship out pretzels to everybody. That
Oh, Dead
haven't had
Bidoof
one.
literally just said it. Like saltapinar, which is basically like, I guess it's pretzels. Like it's just like these sticks that are like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, like isn't that it? Right? Like sticks with like salt over them and whatnot.
What?
But like, I imagine aren't pretzels like larger and kind of like bread?
Yeah.
Though, right?
Yeah, they're a little like I don't know, breadier.
Doughy. Yeah.
Yeah, not quite.
Yeah,
dough.
yeah. But like, I haven't eaten that. For that, I know for a fact. But I definitely have eaten like those. I don't know, like those like sticks with like salt on them or whatever. Like I don't know what they're called, to be honest. But
Salt
I've eaten
sticks.
those. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, basically, dude, it's I don't know what else to refer to them as, to be honest.
That's all right. That's all right.
No worries.
So
Okay.
you're free to go now if you want. You can stay, but
Well, thank you for having me. Honestly, it was really
course.
great to
yeah,
come through.
thank you.
Please
Absolutely.
get
Yeah.
rest. Please.
Definitely will.
Yeah.
Definitely will.
To the audience, you don't need to leave yet. We're gonna continue on with questions
Yeah.
for
You
Andrew
guys
and Rob
aren't free
for
to
a bit.
go. You guys are still
Yeah.
trapped here.
Yeah, you want your tennis
Rowlet.
racket, don't you?
Yeah. Rowlet, on the other hand, I think mentioned that he is feeling a little under the weather tonight, and we want him to get all the rest he can.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I need to sleep.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So
Have a
I will
good
catch you
sleep.
guys a different time. Peace
Yeah.
out.
Absolutely.
See
Yeah,
ya.
pleasure having you.
Thank
Bye.
you. All right. So second half, there aren't as many questions left.
Okay.
So everyone is wondering, can we get a trailer for the devs showcase the alpha before its launch?
Well, we definitely would like to. Yes, we're really hoping so. It kind of depends on how close we're cutting it to our sort of estimated release date, and also can depend a little bit on what it is that you guys would prefer. It's all about how we prioritize things and making sure that we're prioritizing what you guys care about the most. because that's really what matters for this. This is the first time that you guys get to play the game, and have it in your hands and try it out. So we want to make sure that when you do get to play it, that it's something that you're really happy with. So if we're getting close to that deadline and we still feel like we have more stuff that we want to fix up or tune better, then there might be like a poll that we have in our Discord and kind of put out to all our different social medias, kind of asking people what your thoughts are on that. Giving more time for development in that case, but here's a trailer of everything we've got so far, or maybe don't worry about the trailer and we'll still get the alpha out to you as soon as possible.
Yeah,
I
and
don't think
probably
the
a little
community
sooner.
really cares if you publish like a highly edited trailer. Like that'd be cool, but I think they'd be happy with anything.
yeah,
Right.
Just you running around in circles like on Bed Arena.
yeah, just something. I think the the Kickstarter trailer, when you made that, Rob, that stopped all the progress because you were like the only
Yeah.
one really working on the game, right? From like a development side. So
Yeah, it pretty much well, not only the Kickstarter trailer, but basically, I mean, every trailer that we've created so far.
yeah, it halted progress on the game. But now that we have a lot
Yeah.
more people, you can task me with editing it, or at least helping you out with that, and it shouldn't like stall all progress on things.
It kind of depends on what it is, but in terms of like keeping up with, because there's lots of things to keep up with on development that I'm still like helping out with a lot,
Hmm.
and definitely like either working on the trailer or like even just directing that, and getting the different scenes to capture and things like that, takes up a lot more time than even usually I expect at the beginning. Usually I expect to finish a trailer in like a week, and usually it ends up taking more like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And I don't really know why that is, but it's just very, I don't know, it's very time consuming. There's all the setup stuff that you do in scenes, and then actually recording things, and the editing process can take a while too, depending on what all how much footage there is to condense down into the trailer itself.
Yeah, they say it can just be like a 30-second tease.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, we could probably. I don't want to make any guarantees just yet, but we can put out some video before the trailer.
Umberto wanted to ask, I think you've already kind of mentioned it before, but are you going to do a big marketing push for the alpha or just saving that for beta and beyond?
That's a good question. I think it'll kind of depend on how we feel about the alpha on launch. With it being an alpha, we're not expecting everything to be exactly perfect.
We're expecting
But
it
we
to
want
actually
to
not be perfect.
Yeah, we want to get something out to you guys that's fun, and absolutely something that's playable.
Yeah.
But we really want it to be fun, and show you that we can like make something that's enjoyable to play. But it's going to be rough around the edges, and that's kind of the point of an alpha, is to like get your guys' thoughts on what changes should be made and what sort of things to prioritize. So it's a little bit it can be a little bit scary to like pursue a big marketing push when you know that what you're putting out to people isn't really your best yet. Like
Yeah, and the bigger your audience, the more you kind of have people saying like, this obviously isn't complete and
right,
stuff. Even
and
though
we've been hearing that since the beginning, that people want to see like a higher level of polish and stuff, which is absolutely fair. So it's hard to justify a push like that when we know that like we can definitely do better,
Yeah.
than like something that's maybe scrappier but playable and fun.
That being said, I think we also have like a few like small scale plans of just like, reaching out to certain people and being like, hey, would you like to, show off our game a little bit, like some small stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, like Rowlit said while he was on here, as soon as the alpha comes out, he's probably going to be making some videos on it. And I think there's probably other YouTubers as well that have plans to stream and play the game like
Yeah.
that. So I think there'll be kind of an organic push, it seems like, just based on the community that's interested in it already. But beyond that, not sure.
We're not going to be buying billboards.
Yeah,
We'll put billboards up.
with Rob's face on them.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
only one in the middle of Montana.
Yeah. We'll start putting keys inside of cereal boxes.
So I'm surprised this question got accepted. Can you leak new Kinfolk info, preferably unannounced Kinfolk that we see on the progress board with a question mark?
Yes. Not very much, but the piece of info that I guess I can give is I've seen discussion about one of the characters that we've mentioned before, Cinderkinder, and I don't know if they're technically on the progress board right now or not. But if they're not, then
They're in
they
the
will be.
backlog.
They're in the backlog.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I've seen some conversation about Cinderkinder and people kind of discussing what they think about that. And there's a misconception, I think, that Cinderkinder is an Auburn evolution, and this is not the case. So make of that what you will.
Give that a second to sink in.
Yeah.
The level of hype for that is varying.
Gym leader
Fair.
Ed Lamau, my theory is dead.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh,
It was a solid theory. I do remember that.
Yeah, I remember hearing it and I was like, oh, come on, that's such a dumb name, because clearly but I guess you pulled a sneaky on us.
Yep.
I still think Kinder is something to do with Kid, but
it is definitely it's definitely not an Auburn evolution though.
I feel like that's a bit of a misleading code name, but
well, we didn't set out to make them on the nose.
well, yeah, that's why I thought it was a dumb
you-
code name.
never do with anything, Rob.
Yeah, can never make it. Yeah, so going forward, if it seems like Rob is making something easy on you guys, just know that it's actually not. He never makes anything easy on you guys.
Well, now people think it's Fire Shark, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, you guys know Fire Shark's code name because it's the darn silhouette. You have the silhouette of that one, and that's on the card on the progress board. So. But thank you, Rob, for clearing that up, sort of, for us, for giving that information. Well,
That's the
something.
the best I got for now.
It is something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you give us an example of how two kinfolk of the same line will act differently based on personality?
Absolutely. So different. We're thinking at the moment that different kinfolk will have different leanings toward different personalities. And if I'm not answering the question here, like let me know and I'll try to talk about this differently. But so like an Auburn, for example, might have they might favor being like the hero sort of personality type, and a more like nurturing personality type, but then also have the possibility of landing on the like more sinister personality. Whereas somebody like K-Knight might be more likely to be sinister or more likely to be crass, and less likely to be in the hero archetype. Those are all just kind of like examples. That doesn't mean that you should like expect like, oh, it's going to be really hard to find, or I can't find a K-Knight that's going to be like nurturing or whatever. Just sort of examples of that. So that would end up affecting, you know, how you might choose to play through the story, or potentially the party members or the party dynamic um, that you play through the story with. At least as far as personalities go. Does that kind of answer the question?
Yeah, mostly. So it'll also affect stuff like conversation too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Like when you're actually talking with them, it could. We're hoping this is one of the more ambitious things that we're gonna try, but we're hoping to even have dialogue that'll change dependent on their personality. But when we laid out like exactly how much dialogue was going to be involved for doing that, it's really a tremendous amount of dialogue. We have some ways of kind of helping with that, but yeah, it's a lot. So we'll kind of have to see when we get into writing the bulk of that if that's something that feels like it's doable, or if it's something that would potentially hurt the rest of the game because of how much it could expand the scope.
Yeah. Jen is asking for a leak of a passive ability.
A leak of a passive ability. Let me check my notes. This is a new one. I haven't thought about this.
Also, Ducky also wants to know if there's unrevealed kinfolk in the alpha.
If there are unrevealed kinfolk in the alpha.
We've said
As
before
in one
that
that
there's
we haven't
not.
seen.
Yeah, not currently.
Yeah.
We do have
Not in the launch of the alpha. I gotta specify that because there might be more added.
Well, yeah, we do plan to add more characters after the launch of the alpha.
So in the initial release of the alpha, the kinfolk in there will be the ones that you guys already know about.
Yeah, you guys have already seen the characters that'll be in the launch of the alpha. Beyond that and into the beta, maybe you see some new stuff there, maybe. But we wanted to start with something that even as a team we were a little more familiar with working with already. So that's why that's there.
Somebody asks, are you still talking with A-Drive? Because he seems pretty hype about this game.
A-Drive's pretty cool. Yeah, we've continued talking to him about the game and even about his kinfolk that he's creating. Some of you may already know that he's in the creator tier, so he will actually be designing a kinfolk in the game.
Cool.
Hi, Roxas. So the next question.
Oh.
This is probably for Rob and Andrew. Can you describe your favorite unreleased kinfolk design briefly? I'm surprised you guys approved this question, but
I mean, I'm gonna approve it no matter what. It's Rob that would say no. So
I think if we talk in sort of vague and sort of general terms, then we can maybe get away with a little bit.
I will let you go first, so I know how to format my response.
Sure.
Andrew's is gonna be his baby.
Well, see, that's why I was actually gonna say we already know that one, and maybe you could pick your second favorite.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna still.
But I can still go first.
Just so I know how to format my response.
Okay. My favorite unreleased kinfolk. It's a close race between two, and they're actually in the same tree. One of them is Cinderkinder, and let's see. I really like that one. He's probably one of my favorites because his whole tree works together so well to me. I feel like what we're doing with Cinderkinder's passive and and like the other evolutions in that tree is really cool. And then the other one I'm really proud of from like a like a gameplay design standpoint. Um, they're in the same tree, but their play styles are. I would say this character's play style is not like any other character, or the animations and the visuals for how they do their stuff is like pretty non-conventional to the point where when I presented um, when I presented this idea to Cookie, the animator that would be tasked with figuring out how to rig and animate this thing, they were pretty like shocked and had to we had to kind of have a meeting about just if that was possible. But it sounds like it is, and I'm really excited for it.
Good.
Okay, so um, I mean, obviously my favorite is my baby, just because of it. It has some great significance to the story, and I'm really excited about that. And I think the impression it's going to give off is going to be very I feel like you know what I'm trying to say, Robbie. But
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be daunting.
it'll leave an impression.
Yeah, it'll leave an impression. I think even more than Salamurder does. Let's see, and then let's see, other than that, because I already know about that. Let's see, I don't even know what the code name for this one is. If it's up on the its code name might be Noble. It might be Noble Thorn, but it might also be something else. I think it is actually something else. It has a very interesting way of attacking. And I'm pretty sure it's different to the one that Rob just mentioned. But it's...
Is it in the same like tree as Cinderkinder?
Well, see, I haven't seen Cinderkinder before. You still haven't sent it to me. So
I actually have.
Don't...
I just think you didn't realize that was his name.
Okay, probably.
Yeah.
It's the... It's... I'm trying to...
Can you give us a type?
Gaia. It's a Gaia type.
Okay. Okay.
It's the one that Tori's super proud of.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. The the awkward boy. Yeah. Yeah, the way he attacks from the concept art I've seen is really, really, really cool. And I hope that you will be able to control him the way that it seems like you'll be able to.
Based on the models that Simon was able to create for him so far, it's looking pretty good.
Model that like the stuff that Simon's been doing.
Yeah.
It's been really, really cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's awesome.
Were you able to think of a passive ability, Rob?
Oh, let's see. I did have them pulled up to see if any of these were talk aboutable.
Talk aboutable?
Yeah.
Alpha, it's those were two separate ones. The awkward Gaia boy and the significant in the story is separate ones. We have Kayla in the chat saying,
Okay, we'll go with this one.
Kayla, you have access to the dev Discord.
Yeah. Okay. I'll talk about this. There's really a lot more to it than just this, but one of the characters has a passive ability that allows them to hold 3 items instead of just 1.
Nice. I'm gonna type that out to Janet.
Pocket boy. He's got a lot of pockets.
But there you go.
He's
That's all I'll say about that.
He's got a pair of carpenter jeans. He's got pants now.
Cargo pants.
Yeah, he's got some dad roller coaster cargo pants. It's like
And I think you've had this question a bunch, but someone was asking what the final price of the game might be.
We aren't totally sure yet. There's still some things that are like a little bit out of our control there. But we're still looking at the same like price point that we've always been like around like ballpark of $30. But it's like for the full release of the game, it's still like hard to say.
I don't think we plan on going 60 with it, do we?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like,
No,
less than 60.
I honestly I can't imagine that we'll even 40 to me seems like unrealistic. There are games like with a much bigger budget than ours that don't ask for 40. And there's a lot of justification that goes into why you ask for what you do, and I don't think we're quite qualified to hit 40.
I didn't think that we should be asking 60 either, but yeah.
Yeah.
Ducky also asked when you're planning to reveal Cinderkinder.
Never.
When am I planning to reveal Cinderkinder? Well, it's already my profile picture somewhere else. So, yeah, there you go. I don't know. Go find it.
Is it a publicly available profile picture, or is it something that only like I would be able to see?
Yeah, I don't think it's publicly available.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
Hacking intensifies.
Yeah.
Is it your one on Jira?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
Jira was hacked later that day.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
What do you think would be the hardest type to balance overall?
Gaia. Next question.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Gaia.
Gaia.
Kadoki
Elaborate a little bit.
Oh my gosh, Kadoki's being a problem child right now for QA.
Yeah. QA has taken to calling the little green coconut Kabroki.
No, don't say
which is
coconut.
fair.
You'll give him the wrong impression. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No. The little green coconut is actually Kadoki. It's not like some unrevealed kinfolk.
Yeah. Coconut
yeah.
is just a term SM Rob Senior or SM Dad likes to call him.
Yeah. So yeah, he's got all kinds of little ways that he finds himself getting broken.
Yeah.
And we are patching those as quick as we can.
Yep.
But he just keeps throwing, and there's still like some of his moves that are going to be in the alpha. Like when I presented the design docs for those to the dev team, that was a big sigh from the devs.
You get a lot of those.
Like he does what? And it does that too?
Yeah.
Wait, that's gonna be in the alpha? Really? Okay, man. So, and then of course we had to create the visuals for it, and the VFX team is like, so wait, hang on, how much do you need for this? And then we ended up actually doing a lot of preemptive stuff before coming back and being like, okay, here, we'll give you this to work with, and now you can start to develop that part.
Yeah, he does have some really cool animations though.
He does. He's probably got more animations too than just about any other character.
Probably, yeah.
Probably like the most involved character and like requires the most attention.
Yeah.
Someone asked what the inspiration for Salamurder was.
It's Japanese giant salamanders, right?
I think they're technically Chinese giant salamanders, but yeah, there's like these massive salamanders that live out in like either China or the Amazon or something like that, and they look really cool, but also pretty creepy. and so we wanted to do something
No,
with a creature
not
like
Komodo
that.
dragons.
Yeah,
They're like an actual salamander.
yeah, they're like they're salamanders that are like over 3 feet long sometimes, so they're really big.
Although Komodo dragons are really cool.
Yes, they
I
are.
do love those.
Yeah, Komodo dragons will kill you with a bite, and they don't even have venom.
Yeah.
They just gotta.
And
They just don't brush their
it's like a
teeth.
slow, painful death too.
Yeah.
I think you can. I think you'll be all right if you get to a doctor, because it's just.
It's
I mean, like,
I think it's just bacteria, right? It's
Yeah,
just like
it's
a whole
just-
bunch of rubbing alcohol.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and at first, we were gonna give Salamurder or whatever he ends up being called.
Salamander.
It's the community has really taken to it, and it's starting to stick on the devs even more. But at first we were gonna have them open their mouth like really really big. If anybody in the chat has seen Shin Godzilla, we were thinking like that for how the jaw would kind of like unhinge. But then we saw the sketches that Don Pablo created for that, and he had some really really cool ideas there too. So we started going with that.
Cool.
Nice. All right, so I guess you kind of mentioned it a couple minutes ago, but which Kinfolk has required the most time or attention to develop so far, and which one has been the buggiest?
Yeah, still kind of Kadoki again.
Yeah.
Although close second
but-
being Skulkin.
Yeah, he's fairly buggy at the moment too. I think that'll be kind of temporary for him though, because he's a floater, so that like inherently makes him a little bit easier to work with. He doesn't have quite as many animations because of that, and yeah. But I think Slifer is also he requires a lot because he's got like 2 different idle poses that he like switches between, and of course his tail is like a big part of what he does stuff with, and yeah, his kit in general I think will be a fair amount of work. But possibly also Shovel Butt because he's got a move that we haven't started on yet that may or may not really give the devs some trouble to get through. I don't know, but
I want to talk
I feel
about
like
I want
sorry.
to talk about the confusion status effect that we played around with last night, Rob.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We had a.
Oh, go ahead.
So we have an attack that would cause a status effect, and it was only supposed to trigger at a certain time and only on one of the characters. Without getting too far into it, we were using the attack and like missing each other, and it would still like give the status effect to both characters, but then even create like this invisible cloud that you couldn't see. But if you entered the cloud, then you would receive the status effect again until you left.
Can we talk about the status effect?
Maybe not quite yet.
Oh.
But it was
Sure I said it earlier, but whatever.
It was a fairly entertaining bug though.
I feel like stuff with wings might end up being buggy too until like Cookie gets completely used to animating those.
Yeah, it's especially when they have 4 wings.
Yeah.
And lots of feathers to fold up.
Oh boy. I can still remember the sound of tears in Cookie's voice when we mentioned Avion on that stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a pretty challenging model to animate, but he did a pretty good job. But yeah, we've got a lot of improvements we'd like to make to flyers overall, so that should be cool. Be pretty cool. the glass cannon archetype of flyers is going to be. I don't think it'll be terribly difficult to balance, but it'll probably be on one side or the other on launch. Either they're way too strong and overpowered the first couple days or something because we way overtuned them as glass cannons, or they'll be, they won't be strong enough and will have undertuned their health.
Yeah.
So there's sort of no point, or they don't really feel like a glass cannon. I anticipate something like that as kind of some of the growing pains of testing that out.
I'm sure there's
A
gonna
similar
be...
thing with Shovel, but he's an Earth type. He's on the opposite end, so we'll either make him way too tanky, and people are like, you can't kill this thing, or he'll be like not tanky enough, and they'll be like, he's worthless, my baby.
Yeah,
I wanted to play him. He's my favorite, but he sucks.
With all the possibilities with the Gaia minions, I'm sure like there will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are going to be interesting to tune to. Yeah. There's all kinds of like weird stuff that we're going to have to try out and rapidly iterate on to see how we can get it balanced out. But I'm honestly kind of looking forward to it.
Andrew.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of your job?
What's the favorite part of my job?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna talk about QA because that's like the I see my main job as being community management. So I don't know, just like how darn nice everybody is. Like I have such an amazing community to manage. Like you guys are breathtaking. I don't know. Like everybody's so nice to each other. A lot of the times, I'll see people like get into an argument, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm gonna have to go step in, and then they like resolve it themselves, and I'm like, wow, plus 50 faith in humanity. Yeah, like you guys are great. Or like when I'll hop in the voice chat and I get to just like talk to you guys, and like somebody joins, and they're like, sorry for my English, I like I'm from Sweden or whatever, and it's like no, don't apologize for English. That's really cool. I've never talked to anyone from Sweden before, I don't think. And just like like Alpha Koala, like being in what country is that? Dubai? No, not Dubai. I don't know. It's just meeting people from all over the world. Like that's so cool. I don't know. I love geography, so it's really cool. But yeah, Bahrain. Sorry, Bahrain. Yeah, like that's so cool. Yeah, that's my favorite. Just interacting with people that I would have never had the chance to otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think Blobo was wondering quickly what the easiest Kinfolk to deal with was. He asked that in the chat.
Rob? The easiest conflict to deal with?
No, Kinfolk.
Oh, Kinfolk.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Man, the easiest. Ember? I'm gonna go with Ember, but like
when he's not accidentally set to the Auburn animation.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'll say Ember with a single caveat, and that's his smoke, because we've basically like ignored the whole smoke problem ever since all the flashbacks of like trying to get through K-Knight's smoke and make that look good for the Kickstarter trailer. Like we have a workable plan for the smoke that we're gonna go with probably. Either that, like unless something like really good comes along that like we can see a really nice solution for beforehand, we're just gonna like go with a simple solution and call it good. But we've kind of been like ignoring the smoke for now, so that we can get in things like gameplay, like moves and abilities and things that people probably will care a little more about than if Amber's Cool Whip is wavy or not.
Yeah. Like if you jump and dodge with Kadoki, he becomes invincible. just forever. So getting that fixed, because I don't think you guys want invincible Kadoki.
Yeah.
Oh, can you show older versions of K-Night Smoke?
If I still have recordings of them, yeah. I feel like I do on at least a couple. So yeah, I could probably like dig those up and post those somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's not Ember, then I almost want to say Skulkin. Like I think probably Skulkin. Like he's buggy right now, but just because I think because we know that he's relatively easy to work with, and so we
Yeah.
haven't been giving him as much attention.
Yeah, I feel like if he got the same attention as like some of the other ones, he'd
Yeah,
be probably a lot better shape
yeah.
than
Like
Yeah.
most
other
others.
characters just have like a lot more going on that have to be debugged right now and like make sure that it's working properly. But Skulkin's fairly simple, so like he just hasn't been getting that kind of attention.
Yeah,
And because Ember is like the sort of default testing rig, he gets like the most because we're just like testing everything using him for the most part.
yeah. I don't really know
So
why.
partially because like he's a humanoid shape, so it's easier for animators to work with. It's like everything is just kind of a little more standard on him
Gotcha.
because he's people shaped.
Gotcha. He's a
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So last question, I think, before we end. Neo was just curious. Speaking of geography, anything you can tell us about Hinterluck that you haven't already?
Geography wise, yeah, actually.
I know last stream I hosted, you were able to talk about it a little.
Sure. So I guess the first thing that comes to mind is I guess some of the environmental inspirations that we probably haven't talked about before. There's also, I mean, there's a little more in-game stuff too, but I think what people mostly know about what we're basing Hinterlock on is that it's based on a specific region of Switzerland up in the Alps. But there are two other areas that we're taking a lot of inspiration from as well. And one of those being the Faroe Islands, and another being areas like kind of like Scotland or that sort of like Wales, that sort of area. So the architecture and environments that you've seen so far have all kind of been from that Swiss Alps sort of region. But there are other places that we're kind of drawing inspiration from too, so you can expect that kind of thing.
We looked a whole bunch at like all over like Western Europe the other day. You and me both. We're looking at like all the way from Normandy to probably like in Normandy to like Bohemia.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said before, I love the music from the Faroe Islands.
Yeah. We were looking at a lot of architecture from Germany the other day.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think we're about ready to end.
Do we want to take this last question from Ghost Kennedy?
Yeah, we could. So I think I remember these questions. So first, how deep will character creation be? Just the amount of detail.
Yeah. So we're not gonna go like full, Black Desert Online on you guys. That's probably a little outside the scope of what we're able to do and still get everything else done. But we want to go, higher than I guess the customization and something like Sword and Shield or Sun and Moon. So you'll have the ability to like, select different skin colors and hairstyles and eye shapes, mouth shapes, nose shapes, like that kind of thing. But probably we'll keep it all on like, here are your 12 or so options for.
So basically, like a bunch of presets to put together.
Yeah, and you'll be able to change the color of stuff. But probably we won't get quite so in depth as to give you like nose bridge sliders, which is something that I love. I really do
way too long on that.
Yeah, I spend way too much time on sliders for like characters' faces that I play in different games. Like, but yeah, to kind of keep things from ballooning in scope, and we don't want the game to come out in 2027. So
yeah, because you can change your eyebrow thickness.
yeah.
And will Phantom Kinfolk have knowledge that they're Phantom and acknowledge it in a way?
That's a good question. I guess I'll say that the game, the events that take place in the game, not just the story, but like in general, all of the sort of things that happen in the game.
Yeah.
Like Phantoms included, and other potentially similar events. The characters, Kinfolk included, would be aware of things like that. So it's not something that's like just a game mechanic, and or like it's not like when a character tells you to press the A button, and nobody sort of acknowledges that. Like, what the hell are you talking about? What's an A button? I'm scared. Yeah, it all sort of takes place in world, and the characters are aware of what's happening.
Okay.
And last one was, can you recruit NPCs to your guild?
Yes, you can. That's kind of a big part of like building the guild in general, is like recruiting more NPCs, like by adding them to your team, or things like that. Yeah, to help like defend where that guild is.
Cool.
Nice.
Well, that's all the questions we got for today. Do you want to wrap us up?
Thank you all for.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks everyone for coming. Thanks for wishing Rowlit well. It's too bad he's sick. This was a good stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will see you in 2 weeks for the next chill with the devs. Don't quite know what that's gonna be yet. And might be, I think we've done a lot of talking about a potential charity stream. Don't know quite when that'll be, if that happens.
Still working out the details on that one,
it's
but
something we're very interested in, because it seems like everyone else is interested in it. So
yeah, really glad that you guys are potentially open to that. It really means a lot.
Yeah. So we'll definitely see you in 2 weeks for the next show with the devs.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
All right. See ya.